Hello. This is the third lesson in our series about research in our course on communication, research, and analysis for scientists and engineers. From the last two lessons and the associated readings and activities, you should now have all the tools you need to do scholarly research. In this shorter lesson, we'll look at the stages that you tend to go through, what kinds of sources might be useful at various times, and where you might have to iterate between different modes of working. In this video, we're going to assume that you've done the readings and activities from the last two lessons. If not, you might want to review them now. In addition, if you're new to research or if this is your first research project in a new field, you should read Chapter 1 of Explaining the Future. This should help by providing you with key questions to help you think critically about potential research topics. The first key to doing good research is to find something that inspires you in some way. If you have a free range of topics, choose one that you find genuinely engaging. If your subject is allocated to you, try to find some aspect of it you can get interested in. If you're lucky enough to have a free choice, technical magazines and their websites are great places to look for ideas. You can find these via the Engine site, or by looking directly at the magazines that you know cover the topics that interest you. From the very start, you want to make sure to keep track of keywords that are interesting, making sure to cluster them into hierarchies and rearrange them as you go. Try to talk to others in your group or department about your subject. They may know about interesting developments in the area or be able to give you more keywords to look up. Once you've started to make some progress and you have a few subjects that look promising, start to go a little deeper. Who is working on each of these? What recent publications have there been? What conferences? Are there any interesting patents? Keep adding to your keyword list and, of course, to your electronic notebook and reference manager. However, it's not good to get too deep into the details too early, certainly not before you've decided finally on your topic. Make sure to come up for air and look again at the broader landscape, which will hopefully look a bit different now that you know more. Look at review papers, recent conferences, and forward citations to see how things are evolving. Since you should be starting to have more of a feel for the important issues, this should redirect you towards new topics of interest. Once you've done that, you'll need to go through your material and refocus. Organize your notebook so that the less relevant items are clustered together and out of the way, hopefully by topic in case they become important later on. The more promising material should be most accessible. Look through it and decide what questions need a deep dive next. Before you're finished, you will probably have done several iterations of this and have a much better grip on the subject. Once you've settled on your specific topic, make sure to dig up everything on it that you can, everything that's relevant, that is. Be comprehensive. Also, remember the application can have a large impact on the evolution of the technical work, so make sure to keep it in mind. Finally, you should start to see the pattern emerging from the information you've gathered. Either your narrow research questions should become clear, perhaps for further theoretical or experimental work, or the technical argument you'll need for your write-up should emerge. We'll talk more about that in the technical argument lesson. Once you can see the pattern, you'll start to see what's missing and you can fill in the gaps. What are the unanswered questions? If you can't find full answers, find partial ones and think about what could be done to improve them. Where can you find the missing information? How might it be gathered? Interesting gaps are what doctoral students thrive on. If you can find a worthwhile, unanswered question, then you can set about answering it. That's how you make an original contribution and get a PhD. Whether you're doing something new or just making an argument based on existing information, don't forget that you need to look beyond the obvious sources before you give up on missing pieces of the puzzle. Also, even once you think your research is completely done, remember that nothing is finished until it's been written up. The next stage will be to go through the outlining process, as we will discuss in the outlining and feedback lesson. That should highlight more gaps that you may need to fill. That's it for this video. There are no activities for this lesson. The only way to practice these stages is to experience them for yourself. However, we do recommend that you read Chapter 1 of Explaining the Future, particularly if you are working in applied science or engineering, as this highlights some of the key questions you might want to consider as you work.